And I always see an Emrakul on Rudy's side.
Oh, perfect. The Black-White Angel deck has that too?
Yeah, it looks like Rudy has an Emrakul in his sideboard. So Rudy does have an Emrakul on the battlefield. But it looks like, Dorian is taking his turn, though. So there is a Declaration in Stone is going to take care of it.
Oh, I guess it wasn't just cast then.
And that is a flavor win to be able to get a clue from getting rid of Emrakul.
Yeah. So it seems like we're at a board state that's kind of at parity. Both cards have a fair amount of cards in hand. Neither of them seem to have a clear advantage on the board, although both have some tools to work with.
All right, so here's a Kalidas for Rudy and a Liliana, the Last Hope.
And Liliana is great against the green-white token stack.
It's going to kill a Thopter token. And Dorian was tapped out, so he was not able to utilize that Evolutionary Leap. So we have a 3/3 Angel from Linvala is getting into the battlefield.
One thing that Dorian would really like to do is find a way to add a power onto that Den Protector so that it can snipe the Liliana. That would be quite nice.
Liliana is also just extremely powerful in decks like this that have lots of creatures would come into enter the battlefield abilities.
Right, yeah, like I can see a Linvala in the graveyard. That would be a great thing to get back. And we can see both of these players playing at kind of a fast pace.
Yeah, so Den Protector is going to have a well-stocked graveyard. It's just going to get back a Declaration in Stone. It's going to give Rudy a second clue, get rid of the Kalidas. And now 4 points of damage can come across and kill Liliana.
Yep. Oh.
Ooh, Anguished Unmaking is going to hit the Stasis Snare. It's going to come back in. Valley's Lancers is going to enter the battlefield. That's going to let Rudy search for a legendary permanent.
Yeah, and just gobble up that Den Protector.
It's like we're just going to get a transform card that's likely an Archangel Avacyn.
That's what I would guess.
Oh, it also could be Bruna. Bruna or Gisela, one of the meld cards.
Actually, Bruna would probably be the best hit. Cast Bruna, get your Linvala back.
Yeah.
Although, on this board, Linvala would just be a 5/5, so maybe that wouldn't actually be that great.
I mean, I'll take a 5/7 and a 5/5 flyer.
Yeah.
Right, well, there's a big old Sylvan Advocate for Dorian. Going to pass the turn back to Rudy. Let's see what Rudy casts. Oh, he's just going to cash in a clue.
Has literally infinite mana.
Yeah, lots of lands.
That Anguish Unmaking was huge.
Yeah.
And Rudy could have used that Anguish Unmaking on the Evolutionary Leap, but instead of using it on the Stasis Snare is a pretty interesting decision. Both plays have their pros and cons.
All right, so Rudy's going to plus the Liliana on the Thopter token. Let's see if he attacks. He's just going to cast another Thalia's Lancers.
Is he going to get Gisela here? I think he has enough mana to cast them both on the same turn, Gisela and Bruna.
He's just going to get a Kalidas this time. Pass the turn back to Dorian.
These Thalia's Lancers are a pretty big deal too. The multiple first strikers can start to create a wall that is just unpassable on the ground.
Yeah. I'm going to pass the turn back to Dorian. Dorian has a Nissa, Vastwood Seer, which is going to let him go get a forest. He is going to be able to transform that Nissa, though.
Immediately, he can tick it up so that it doesn't die to the angel token. The 4/4 that it can make from the minus isn't particularly valuable, given Rudy has two 4/4 first strikers. And Dorian certainly just wants more action.
All right, well, the +1 on Nissa is going to get a fortified village and put it into the battlefield. Dorian does have a handful of cards, so it looks like there's at least one more copy of Evolutionary Leap there.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff, but it doesn't seem like...
There's a News Constrictor.
Yeah.
I wonder who played that.
Seems like he's got a lot of cards, but none of them are really the right cards. He really wants something like Athalia, or not Athalia, an Avacyn, because that would be able to give him control of the air. Or a Linvala would also be quite nice.
And well, Rudy has a Kalidas now. Oh, we're going to attack Nissa with an Angel. He picked up a copy of Grasp of Darkness, so let's see what Dorian decides to do here with those Noose Constrictors.
I think blocking with the Noose Constrictor and then just discarding a land is kind of free. Especially because he has the Evolutionary Leap available. But yeah, basically Dorian, he's got a lot of cards, but none of them are the right cards. What he really wants, I don't like discarding 2 cards there.
He's going to pitch 2 cards, and Rudy is going to respond with a Grasp of Darkness.
And it looks like Dorian chose not to activate Evolutionary Leap there.
Yeah, well, Dorian hasn't activated Leap yet, and that Liliana's picked off a couple tokens, as well as the Lancers was able to ambush. Most of the time he's been using all of his mana, but that seemed like an okay spot to use his Leap. Kalidas is going to get a zombie, and Rudy does still have that Transform card in hand. It looks like it's a Gisela.
I wonder if maybe the Bruna is already in the graveyard.
Well, if it is, Liliana can get it back.
Yeah, this is a good time for Dorian to find an Avacyn. Maybe try to flip it with the Evolutionary Leap.
Well, there's another Noose Constrictor.
And if I were Dorian, I would just sack the Noose Constrictor and dig for Avacyn.
Well, it does give Rudy more zombies. We have to keep that in mind.
Well, if you're going to flip the Avacyn, who cares, you know?
Yeah.
Well, actually, with the amount of mana that Rudy has, he'll just sack all the zombies to make his Cletus huge.
All right, so here we have the team is coming. I assume it's all going at Dorian.
And this is where Cletus gets a little tricky because, if you block the zombies, then he sacks them to the Cletus. And if you block the Cletus, sacks the zombies to the Cletus. Both are bad.
Yeah. So we've got confirmation everything is going at Dorian. We're just going to forsake Nissa for now.
And I think Rudy believes, well, because he's attacking Dorian, it leads me to think that Rudy thinks that he has enough resources where he can just shove and win. And Nissa's not going to be able to, battle Dorian back into the game.
Well, looks like the card that Rudy has in hand is Grasp of Darkness. So he will be able to use that to make combat pretty bad for Dorian, depending on how he attacks. Worst case scenario, even if Dorian's able to kill off one of Rudy's creatures, he can just get it back with Liliana -2.
Yeah.
All right, so Dorian's going to put Noose Constrictor, Den Protector on the Kalidas. Looks like we have a Noose Constrictor is going to go on one of the Thalia's Lancers. And Sylvan Advocate is going to go on to a zombie. So zombie is going to get sacrificed to Kalidas.
And now this Cletus is just going to kill both those creatures in combat. Dorian is choosing not to activate his Evolutionary Leap. And it seems like he's just really far behind in this game. He does have access to Tragic Arrogance in his deck, although it's unlikely he kept it in post-board. That would be the one thing that I think could really save him in this position. But as things stand, it looks like Rudy's probably going to be able to win this game on the following attack.
He's going to knock Dorian down to 6, go up to 23 himself. He should be getting 3 zombies there from Kalidas. The Grasp is going to take care of the Advocate, along with the Liliana Plus. It's going to give him another zombie, and Dorian just hasn't used his Evolutionary Leap at all.
Yeah.
Oath of Nissa is going to find
That's
him.
a little awkward. The second Nissa doesn't do a whole
that
lot.
he can't play, and Rudy Briksza is going to take that match 2-1 over Dorian Finn. Black-white Angel control over green-white tokens. As we came in, we were watching an Emrakul get hit by Declaration in Stone. Man, I wish we could have came in a couple minutes earlier to see what that Emrakul had done.